Just a few minutes, and I apologize to Mary and Jim. They've heard me belabor this topic before, and anyway, I just ask them to act like you hadn't heard it before. And of course, Jim slept through most of it, so we probably don't remember it anyway. One of my favorite biblical characters is a guy by the name of Caleb. And I know all of you know who he is. And Caleb is, to me, I guess as I get older, I really appreciate what kind of man he was, more so than I did when I was much younger and I first read about him or was exposed to him. And if you remember, he was one of the original 12 that Moses sent into the Promised Land to just go in to reconnoiter, to check it out, to get them prepared, because he wanted to move the chosen people across the river Jordan into the Promised Land. And so the 12 spies, one from each of the tribes, that's not spies, but anyway, get a little confused later on. He sends them over, and they go into the Promised Land and they search it up. I mean, they go all over the place. They go on for a while. And they check the place out because they want to know exactly what God has for them now. God is one who commanded Moses to send them. And you have to keep in mind now, at this particular time, Moses, God bless him, has put up with these stiff-necked people for a long time. You know, he's brought them through the Red Sea. He's, kept them from being destroyed by Pharaoh's army. I say he, the hand of God, obviously. But every time he turned around, of course, what was happening? Some little thing would happen, and they'd start squawking. They'd start complaining. Before you judge them too much, remember, if you look in the mirror, you might find out we do the same thing, but not on the scale that they did. And then there were so many other things through the time. They thought they were going to starve to death. God provided manna. Everything else that went on. Well, here's Caleb and this bunch. They come back from their reconnoitering, and 10 of them, all they can think about is the fact that every one of these people that they saw over there, they had big cities and their buildings reached up to the heavens. And they had people in there that were just mean and vicious and a lot bigger than we are. And they even had that Anakim, supposed to be these giant people who lived in the land. And all 10 of them, came back. It was almost like they're standing there like here, Barney Fife sitting there talking to them, scared. And Caleb and Joshua looked at him and said, "Man, it's the greatest place I have ever seen." He said, "Not only is the land flowing with milk and honey, but man, we went over there to eat some grapes one day. We found this grapevine. Said, I thought we was trying to pick apples off of it. They were so big." And all this stuff, all they could tell was just great stories about what it was like. Somebody kind of pushes, so, well, what about all these big people that are going? Basically, I didn't even see them. That ain't nothing. So anyway, those 10 people really made the other people just fearful. And they kept pushing Moses, no, we can't go across. We can't get over there. We got to wait. So as we know, going forward, what happened? God told him, says later on, "You will, Moses. But right now, we're going to wander for about another 40 years. And when all those folks that were naysayers and wouldn't trust in me die off, we'll go across." And so moving forward, 45 years later, here God comes and says, it's time. And of course, as we know, they send the 12 spies. Rahab hides them and so forth and so on. And they get prepared to cross the River Jordan and go in and take the land. And while they're doing this, here's this 85-year-old dude by the name of Caleb. And I mean, he's just sitting there waiting.